Hello, welcome to this update for the severe weather and also the tropics in parts of North America. So let's see these storms first, because today is August 7th, and we have this enhanced risk in North Dakota, and tomorrow on Friday the 8th we'll have even more dangerous storms. So let's see. There's this enhanced risk in parts of North Dakota, branching kind of into Minnesota, and this light risk as well around it into Montana and South Dakota, Minnesota. This marginal, there's a 5% tornado threat this afternoon and evening, a few spots in North Dakota, and also 2% from Montana to Minnesota. So stay safe in those areas, especially the 5%. Have some ways to receive warnings. Warn others and be careful. The wind threat is 30% across North Dakota and 15% across South Dakota into Montana and Minnesota. There's this hatched area force, so some hurricane force winds possible, some damaging winds. So stay safe. There's hail too, some large hail in North Dakota, branching to South Dakota, and possible hail larger than 2 inches diameter. So please stay safe, and also this 5% in the Midwest. So let's see, a few scarce general thunderstorms in the southeast and parts of the west. So scarce severe thunderstorms expected later today into tonight. The most likely corridor is centered in North Dakota, where a few tornadoes, very large hail, and significant severe wind gusts are possible. So stay safe in those areas. And in the northern Great Plains, significant severe storms keep producing wind gusts of 75 mile per hour plus, very large hail. Possible few tornadoes are expected in an area centered on North Dakota later today and tonight. A mid-upper level trough is forecast to amplify over parts of northwest northern Rockies today as it moves eastward. One of the low amplitude for vorticity maximum may precede the larger scale trough and move across the northern Great Plains during the afternoon and evening. The surface lows forecast to gradually deepen across the northern plains today and reach low-level moisture beneath the steep mid-level lapse rates, resulting strong to extreme buoyancy within the warm sector of this cyclone, and also near north of the baroclinic zone will extend east-northeast of the low. This instability combined with moderate deep layer shear will result in a very favorable environment for severe storms. So now the guidance generally depicts one or two more intense storm clusters moving across North Dakota sometime later today and tonight. Considerable spread remains regarding the timing, the primary threat, and the duration of the coverage supercells. There's some potential for the morning elevator convection to become increasingly organized with time, with renewed development during the afternoon possible near the surface low baroclinic zone. So, any supercells within this region pose a threat for very large hail, and along with some tornado potential, especially near the baroclinic zone. A tendency towards clustering and MCS development is expected with time, increasing threat for one or more soft to significant severe wind along with some potential shoreline embedded tornadoes possible in the southern to eastern extent. The higher and severe potential remains uncertain due to differences regarding storm timing and the position of the main baroclinic zone. So stay safe in those areas. This link's in the description for you to read the updates this afternoon and everything. Tomorrow, Friday, for day two, there's still this enhanced risk parts of Minnesota into North Dakota and South Dakota. And there's this light risk from Nebraska to Minnesota and the marginal, and a few scattered storms in the green. So there's a 2% tornado threat already tomorrow there. I expect maybe a 5%, but for now it's 2%. There's wind threat 5%, and the main threat is hail, so 30% hatched tomorrow. So please be careful. And the severe storm threat will extend into southern Canada as well, so be aware. There's like scared severe thunderstorms expected Friday afternoon and evening across parts of northern plains, the upper Mississippi Valley. So be careful. Those areas, the links in the description if you want to see all of this. But just A summary, there'll still be a lot of instability, cape and extreme buoyancy with steep mid-level lapse rates, and this surface cyclone coming, some moderate wind shear. So there'll still be a very good environment for supercells. So please stay weather aware tomorrow as well. And there's this light risk for Saturday across Wisconsin, Iowa, into Minnesota, and this marginal for New Mexico to Canada. So be careful as well. And some general storms in the green. Isolate to scattered severe storms will possible on Saturday from the southern plains into the Great Lakes. The greatest threat concentrated in northeastern Iowa into central northeastern Wisconsin. So stay safe in those areas. Please be careful. And here in hazards, we still have some very bad air quality across southern Canada to the northern US from the fires, and some extreme heat warnings on the west, and some big fire danger and heat advisories in the plains. So be careful, and there's still the critical fire threat across the Great Basin, spots near the Rockies as well, the west, and some dry thunderstorms near the Four Corners, New Mexico, and Colorado and Arizona still. So be careful, still some dry thunderstorms, those same areas tomorrow, and critical fire danger. So stay safe in that fire threat. And Thursday, so here, let's see the significant tornado parameter, if it shows something this evening. So this is about late this afternoon. The shock across north into South Dakota, slightly more elevated. The HER is pointing more to like northern South Dakota, but especially like later in the evening, it shows like all the way to 5.4 in southern North Dakota. So there's a substantial threat today. We'll see how this plays out, but stay weather aware those areas, be careful. And does show about that same time the storm relative holistic, like more central North Dakota on the her close to 300 meters squared per second squared, and this about 2 Z. So let's see about 0 Z slightly earlier. Shows slightly less, but a few isolated areas like southern Canada and into North Dakota, and a few areas. By 4Z in the evening, later does increase the storm relativity close to 382. So we are watching this, but be careful in those areas. There's still like the updraft, at least the full run until Friday morning. So until Friday morning does show this area across northeastern Montana into North Dakota and all the way to Minnesota, southern Manitoba and Saskatchewan, and spots maybe north and South Dakota. Some chances for very large hail across those areas. So be careful in those areas and stay safe. And does show here about 1C this evening, the mid-level lapse rates close to 9 degrees there in South Dakota, but where the main storms will be in North Dakota, about 8 to 7 degrees in a few spots. So there's a lot of buoyancy. So please be careful. The Cape, it shows here as well, like Thursday this morning, it shows some, but this afternoon close to 3,000, even like to 4,000 joules per kilogram spots in North Dakota. In Nebraska, it's 5,000, but there'll be no storms there to use it. So the the area towards like North Dakota and to Minnesota is some 3,000 to 4,000 joules per kilogram. So that's a lot of Cape. So be careful, but this is just one model from the HER. This does change, but there's like here the max wingas potential from the 0Z. I think this is the 60 her. Yeah, the 60 does show a few spots North Dakota, more than 75 mile per gus, and even some very isolated places close to 80 or even 90 in some isolated places. But this is just one model run and it's not a guarantee. But it does show some widespread damaging winds in a few areas. So stay safe. Now the storms themselves shows here like by early this afternoon, I think or two are in northern North Dakota, Montana, and then later this goes the actual severe storms later by this evening, especially North Dakota into southern Manitoba, spots in eastern Montana, some dangerous storms, and let's see, this goes still some dangerous clusters during the night there in North Dakota, potentially reaching Minnesota. This last run here does feature a severe MCS, so this goes into Minnesota, and please stay safe. Some initial storms, maybe some strong storms, some hail in Montana there, and into parts of Saskatchewan, southern Alberta. So be aware as well. Friday it's too far out to see the afternoon, but still there'll be some storms. And those scattered storms in Florida, just like afternoon summer style, and spots in the Bahamas. So be aware and stay safe in those areas. Here, there's still some excess rainfall along the east coast, but day one for Thursday shows spots in the southeast, spots there in the north and Midwest. Day two, still in the north from those storms, the southeast. Day three, back to the southwest, and the Midwest, the plains. Day four and day five, similar, so be careful in those areas. Day 1 through 7, they're showing Florida is slightly more, close to 5 inches in 7 days. Spots in the Midwest, close to 4 inches, a spot or two. So be aware, 5 days, similar thing, but increases 7 days, of course. So be aware those areas. And here for Canada, like I showed you on the HER before, does show later this evening across southern Saskatchewan into Manitoba, the strongest storms, some large hail and some damaging winds, even a funnel cloud or two there in Alberta. It doesn't have Friday still, but tomorrow we'll get an update here. So this is Wednesday, so Thursday in Ontario. In Ontario, does show Area A, even a small tornado threat, according to them, and some damaging winds and some hail too. And Area C and Area B as well. Day 3 still showing southwestern Ontario because day 3 would be Friday tomorrow. So I do think that area will need to watch closely tomorrow as well. And Quebec, a finger two, nothing too concerning. So be careful those areas and stay safe. Does show like especially this is like the CO2 concentration. This does show where most of the wildfire smoke is, especially central Canada to the northern US. This is not the best thing to illustrate it, but it's one tool I have here. So be careful the air quality across central Canada in those areas, and does show the excess rainfall like 5 days, even to like 100 millimeter spots, Saskatchewan, Manitoba on the European model. So be careful in a few areas, central Canada, into British Columbia, because of those low pressures in the Pacific, bringing some rain as well. So in southern Alaska, so be aware. Spots in northern Quebec, still some rain. Atlantic Canada and the northeastern west, kind of dry now, only a few showers in the south, in the western US, pretty dry as well. So be aware and still watching the tropics. Let's see here. There's like some things have changed. So there's this area in the Central Atlantic to 60% chance array and 20% next 2 days. So we are still watching this. This is in Invest 96 hour array. This has a decent chance, but still some dust and some dry air. There's this area, it was 40%, but now it's down to 30%. It still might try to become something near the East Coast. And there's Dexter, Tropical Storm Dexter is still there, and it's expected to become extra tropical. But here's the thing, it might reach hurricane strength, like post-tropical hurricane. I don't think that exists, but it will be a very strong extratropical cyclone there in the Atlantic with some hurricane force winds. It won't be tropical anymore, but it will be very strong. By the time it reaches Europe, it will be like very weak, but might need to watch for a thing or two there. So be aware, still be careful. Some small rip current threat spots on the East Coast, especially in the Mid-Atlantic, spots in California as well. And there's two storms in the Pacific, as you can see here. So here, does show the Eastern Pacific. There's Henrietta and Evo. Evo just formed yesterday, and so thus they do expect to become a hurricane later in the Pacific. So be careful, especially the rip currents and surf western Mexico and some storms, and still some minor winds possible in the Baja Peninsula. So stay safe. And there's the tropical storm probabilities on the European by next Monday. It's just a 5% with 96L on the European, but the tropical depression probability is already to like 40%. So it's not the highest thing, but it's something to watch. The next wave coming off of Africa is already to 60% chance by the 13th, so even to 70 by the 14th. So this, according to this one of the European, it has a decent chance now, but I guess we'll see, because the last three waves we had showed something similar and none of them formed, but we'll keep watching later. By mid-August, still shows some chances to watch across the Caribbean. So to 120 hours out, the European has a few members with 96L, like just, I can even count them, a few members. So it doesn't have as much support as before. So I don't, I'm losing some hope on this system, but it still has a chance. And there's the next wave behind it with slightly more support. So to 240 hours, it does show a lot of support, this same general area with the wave behind it. So we'll keep watching. And the GFS is kind of similar. It has like layer by 200 hours, some possibilities there. But don't fall into the hype that yesterday there was like double major hurricane showing up on the GFS. So don't fall into that. But we are still watching long range. So be aware those areas. And here these next waves in Central Africa, there's a lot of moisture across Sudan, South Sudan, spots in Nigeria. So there's some waves gaining momentum there, but still some time until they get to the Atlantic. There's tropical storm Evo in the Eastern Pacific, and Ariete is almost dissipating there, but still something left of it. So be careful, some heavy rains, like some showers and storms as usual, Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados, St. Lucia, and more areas there, especially further south you go. But also some storms in Puerto Rico and Hispaniola, a few afternoon showers. And be careful because these storms can have lightning and gusty winds, especially afternoon and evening. Across Cuba, some 68 millimeters or more, 71 in 5 days in Central America. Especially be careful like Costa Rica, Nicaragua, and all the way to northern Mexico, those stronger storms, western Mexico, because tropical storm Eva is nearby, and also the storms this time of year. So be careful, and the Yucatan and more areas. Be aware, in the US, they're showing the Midwest, the plains, some higher accumulation, even to like 4 inches in the European. But the South is pretty quiet, a shower or a small storm or two in in the Gulf Coast near Texas, and more as you get to Florida and the Southeast, some heavy rain. So be aware, those areas. Stay safe. Still some mild to hot temperatures, central southern Canada, and like a few spots into western Canada as well. Some mild temperatures. Still colder, like northern Alaska and northwestern Canada. So be aware, like some below average temperatures in Nunavut, spots in Yukon as well. So be aware, but this weekend still shows pretty warm southern southeastern Canada, especially there in Ontario by Sunday afternoon, especially even to like 33 degrees. Monday still shows southern Quebec and Ontario, and later still shows in the south, but there'll be some changes possibly. So shows some snow as well. 5 days mainly there in Alaska. Shows spots there shows some 5 inches, 7 inches the European, especially in the mountains there in Alaska, and spots in Yukon as well. So be aware, Northwestern Territories. Further south, barely nothing. The European shows like a centimeter or two in British Columbia, but very little. The GFS is in the Rockies there. So let's see, stay safe. And there's another very dangerous thing happening. This heat wave in north southwestern US into Mexico. So the Europeans still show like 47 degrees northwestern Mexico this afternoon, close to 48. At the same time, 118 Fahrenheit spots Southern California into Arizona. So please stay cool, stay safe, stay like hydrated, like 107. Nevada and the valleys, California, more than 100. So please stay safe. Thursday, Friday starts it's getting slightly better, but still like 117 in California, 47 northern Mexico. So please stay safe. Spots in the plains like 110 on the European models Saturday afternoon in Oklahoma and Kansas and Colorado. So stay safe in Texas, well above 100. Southern Texas as well. Saturday, Sunday still shows across California, especially, and a few spots in the Midwest getting slightly hotter. So stay safe and further into the Southwest, the extreme heat continues. Not as much as today, but still possibly into next week continues. Like on the 12th, the European does show like to 117 again near the border of Mexico. So stay safe, and the nighttime temperatures won't give much relief as well. So be careful, the extreme heat risk. And yeah, just one last thing. So still show like today, Thursday, slightly strong gusts, a few spots west and west in the Rockies that might increase the fire danger, and still Friday, Saturday, slightly stronger gusts with that cyclone there, spots in the northern plains, the severe weather, and into central Canada that trough goes further east, a few spots in western Canada as well, Sunday into Monday into Quebec, so be aware some occasional strong gusts and stay safe.